A newbie, Linux, gaming in Linux, and the GNOME desktop. What could possibly go wrong? Welcome back. This is Total OS Today, Total Technology for beginners and beyond. Well, speaking of beginners, I guess Linus from Linus Tech Tips, I guess for the first time, tried to install a full install of a Linux-based system. I guess it was a challenge. I'm not sure if somebody challenged him or he just thought about doing it, but this was brought to my attention less than a week ago. I finally got a chance to take a look at the video today, at least part of it, some of it. I don't think it ends well. I don't know yet, but let's take a look at this and I will give you my reaction. From the brief snippets that I saw of this video, I don't think Linus did anything wrong, except he did not consult with me first to avoid any potential headaches. But let's take a look at this, and I suspect what's happening to Linus is not that unique or that much unusual for all beginners or all newbies to the world of Linux. In case you don't know, I've been using Linux and Windows steady now for 2006. For tonight's live stream, I am running Ubuntu Mate. I game very little in Linux, very little in Windows for that matter. Usually have my Xbox. So let's take a look at this video and see what we have here. And you know, maybe some of you who have tried Linux and didn't work out for you, maybe some of you can relate to all this. I will play the video and I will pause it and comment as we go. So again, I haven't seen the entire thing, but this was brought to my attention to take a look at this. I finally did at least some of it today. And so let's take a look, okay?
To celebrate the exciting launch of Windows 11, Luke and I are challenging each other to ditch Windows altogether and replace our Windows PCs with Linux for a month. And if either of us caves, they have to dye their hair in red, green, blue, and yellow quadrants permanently. Easy, you might say. But I'm not talking about our work machines that are basically just used for word processing and web browsing. I'm talking about our personal rigs, the ones we both use on a daily basis, primarily for gaming. Has Linux gotten to the point where it's user-friendly enough that any tech nerd can pick it up and run? Is game compatibility going to be an instant deal breaker? Will any of my other applications even run? Who would sponsor this madness? Instantly see your current and past network activity, detect malware, and block badly behaving apps on your PC or Android device with Glasswire. Use offer code Linus and get 25% off Glasswire at the link down below. Embarrassingly, I have never actually made an earnest attempt to daily drive Linux, and one of the reasons for that is the utterly paralyzing number of choices you have to make before you even get started. Now, I could just call on industry contacts or even use internal resources to make these decisions for me. But the point of this challenge is that Luke and I should be using the exact same resources that anyone else would have. And with that in mind, right out of the gate, I would forgive the average gamer for making it as far.
Okay, first of all, Linux and gaming. If you really like to game, forget about gaming in Linux for newbies. As we say in New York, forget about it. Just seriously, just forget about it. So that was Linus's first mistake. Let's move on.
As Google hit #1 for best Linux distro for gaming and bailing on the entire deal. I mean, nothing against the author of this article. I did pick up some really useful information, but it is full of jargon that a non-Linux enthusiast couldn't possibly be expected to know, not to mention seemingly conflicting information. How is it that Ubuntu can be simultaneously easy to use and beginner-friendly and a hassle to set up? Another big one is that customization gets billed as this major selling point for Linux, and fair enough if that's your thing, but speaking on behalf of normies, I don't want a dozen novel ways to do the same thing. I want one fast, easy one. I mean, it's horrible when Microsoft scatters system settings all over the place. I think we all agree on that. And so we should all agree that it's horrible when anybody else does it. I mean, I'm the kind of person who doesn't even rename my video game characters because it makes it a nightmare to look anything up if I get stuck. And there are a ton of other red flags. Let's move on to hit number 2 here, this time from Tech Radar. Supports several controllers should not be a selling point for a gaming-focused product. It seems to imply that most of my stuff won't work. And included games are not the reason that anyone chooses an operating system. How are these articles so out of touch? Furthermore, the messaging around what makes an individual distro stand out compared to the other ones gets really muddy in some places. Like the way that these articles are often laid out, it sounds like if I choose the one with support for hybrid graphics, I'm going to be giving up kernel-level gaming optimizations. Or that if I want broad hardware support, that could cost me the customization that I crave. But the truth is that that's not the case. With a bit of elbow grease, the gaming-centric features and tweaks of one distro could be applied to another, but with some exceptions. The Pantheon user interface, for example, is specific to elementary OS. And for a more gaming-related example, Tech Radar mentions a feature of Gamer OS, now called Chimera OS, called the Chimera app that sounds super cool. It allows you to easily install and manage non-Steam games and even ROMs for a wide range of retro consoles. Except that if I wanted an OS that doesn't support multitasking, I would invent myself a time machine so that I could go back and use it. But wait, hold on. The Chimera app can be used outside of Chimera OS. There's even a guide. But unless I want to really get into the weeds, I better stick with something based on Arch, by the way, like Manjaro or Garuda. Not that that's going to be my final answer. In spite of its spectacularly stupid name, pop!_OS topped just about every listicle that I found and legitimately has some compelling selling points.
Okay, Pop! OS is not that stupid, in my opinion. Okay, let's move on.
Like demystifying the notoriously difficult process of getting my NVIDIA GPU working properly, and making installing the apps and tools that I'm going to need to run my Windows games a one-click affair with the Pop Shop. If it was 10 years ago and I was looking for a challenge, Manjaro's bleeding edge approach, please forgive the occasional screw-up, definitely calls to me. And did I mention it's based on Arch, by the way? But I want to win this thing without pulling my hair out for a month, and Pop! OS looks like a really good bet for that. It's Ubuntu-based, so if I really want to get under the hood, that's totally an option. But the challenge here is play games, not get your PhD in Linux smartassery.
I, on the other hand, after a lot of deliberation, decided to go with the daring, the uncompromising Linux Mint with the Cinnamon desktop environment.
Okay, Linux Mint would have been my first choice for a newbie. There's some others. I like Ubuntu Mate, but Linux Mint would have been my first choice. I probably would have stuck with the Mate edition, the Mate desktop, but Linux Mint is good.
As for how I think that's going to go, honestly, I'm pretty confident. I've used Mint before. I daily drove Ubuntu, the distro it's based on, for about 2 years back in school. So I'm not scared of figuring out how to install a GPU driver or use a package manager. I'm comfortable getting my hands dirty with Grub, but that doesn't mean I'm not a little scared of you. I'm pretty technical and I work in development every day, but hardcore Linux chads are absolutely terrifying. You scare me, and I really want this to go well because I still want you to like me when this is all over.
Got my drive ready, and Windows couldn't possibly have picked a more appropriate time to just bug the crap out. It's like it knows what's gonna happen. It won't let me click power. Obviously, I'm not 100% committed to this yet. So my plan is to remove my existing SSD from the system. It's not a Gen 4 drive or anything, but I'm not expecting that to matter. I mean, what am I going to be doing? Running direct storage? Ha! Got him.
Okay, so this is what happened last time. My desktop you can see where it's supposed to sort of end, but it keeps going and the mouse can go over there. So I'm going to right click right below the Mint logo. Nothing shows up, but there's the menu. If I try to mouse over these, I can't select them. But if I move my mouse back to below this M, there it is. I found it. Okay, so my mouse has to be right there. I'm just gonna see if I can do an easy fix of just turning off my monitor here. To be fair, it is not installed yet. This is a live boot environment. See if it comes back when I turn that back on. DisplayPort, no signal. Okay.
I was worried that my Thunderbolt connection, I used Thunderbolt to connect to a dock for my main display, was going to cause problems with the installer because there's no drivers installed or anything. So I hooked up my monitor that's here in the server closet, but hey, there it is. Just like that. My mouse. He no move. Oh wait, where'd it go? Oh, I thought, oh wow. Oh, the sensitivity is just so high that I couldn't tell it was there.
All right, let me just say that for beginners, the GNOME desktop has to be one of the worst desktop environments for beginners. Even though I like Pop! OS, let's move on.
Okay then. Yep, that's the one. Here we go. Full name. Yes.
Just did a quick restart and turned the side monitor off. And it's fixed to the bounds of the screen, and the mouse problem is solved. So just installing directly from the live environment. So I do want the multimedia codecs. It's nice that Mint comes with those. Not every distro does. I haven't decided which drive to actually put Mint on, so I'm not entirely sure where it's installing these media codecs, but it's doing something. Okay, finish the install. It wants me to remove my flash drive. Got it, and then press enter. This is our first login. And we're there. Check video drivers. I knew I was gonna run into that installing Mint instead of Pop! OS, but that is a challenge I have decided to undertake. It should be okay, but we'll see later. I'm gonna go through this welcome manager.
First order of business is to get our mouse speed down from over 9,000 to something more reasonable. That seems more like it. Also, why the hell is this on by default? No obvious indication that any of my hardware is not working fully. Even my Aquantia network card picked up just fine. I knew audio was going to be a challenge because I don't think the Go XLR has any kind of, oh, this is interesting, output. Hello? Okay, it appears to be taking my input right now, which is my mic right over here, presumably, and turning it into output. Blah, blah, blah. Yep, that's definitely it. Does this work at least?
Left, front, right.
Okay. Well, I've got sound at least. I was looking for a simple way to just list all the hardware connected to the system so that I could verify if my drivers are installed. Linux apparently doesn't really work like that, but I can just install this utility called hardinfo. Not exactly a hardware info substitute, but it's a lot better than nothing. Of course, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on any of this for now, because the goal today for part one is to pick a distro, get it installed, and run a game. I will definitely need Steam. Failed to install Steam. Morning, you were trying to remove the following essential packages. What are you talking about? I've done nothing with this other than install that hardinfo thing. You know, it's hilarious. The last time I tried to do anything on Ubuntu.
There is probably nothing worse for a Windows user to try to install Linux and there is too much reading to be done on the screen, especially when it starts with warning. Just a guess, but let's move on.
I ran into this exact same thing. I was told, it's super simple, you just install it. No, you do not. This is stupid. Apparently this is the solution. And I have to type yes.
I'm laughing. I'm looking at Linus's terminal. And I have a vision of a newbie seeing all that and going, what the bleep is this? Sorry, let's continue.
Do as I say in order to install it. And maybe it will install in Blanche now. What is the point of having a... Oh. Hello? Did my computer just hard reset? What? I mean, to be clear, I've seen some broken Windows behavior on first install, but this is...
To all the Windows users out there, on behalf of the entire Linux community here on Total OS, I would like to apologize. Let's continue.
He's dead, Jim.
A Star Trek fan. Good, good.
Okay, so we've got the Novu, or however that's pronounced, open source driver. Fantastic. Happy they made that. But we are going to try to move to the proprietary NVIDIA 470 driver. Install done. Just need to restart. Had a few more errors than last time, but I think we're still good. Genuinely think this is fine. Yeah, nice. Okay. Now Linux Mint also has an update manager. A new version of update manager is available. Apply the update. It updates, and then it finds all the different updates that we need.
Pressing the reset button on my computer did not, in fact, allow it to come back to life. Let's try an all the way off and start again. Not that I think that will do anything different from the reset button. Man, if I manage to completely brick this install in 15 minutes, that might be a new personal best for me. My machine is not even posting now. I have plugged the HDMI cable back in here. Let's see what happens. Hello? Hey, there we go. Okay, so that's back. That's not. My phone battery is only at like 6%, but I'm afraid to turn the camera off now because this ride has been absolutely wild. Pretty wild. Oh, hey, there we go. Hello? Oh. Oh, wait, what? Did I manage to completely nuke my desktop environment? Like my GUI? How? Just logged in and this is what I got. Ubuntu comes with absolutely no warranty. I can see why. This was a terrible experience. And I think that's where I'm gonna have to leave it for tonight because I found this other post saying, hey, yeah, I had this problem. This was not easily solvable, so I had to fresh install. I don't think I'm going with Pop! OS again. I mean, that was... You guys were there for the whole thing. That was utterly ridiculous.
Continuing to install updates.
All right, to be fair, I have installed, tested Pop! OS before. Not for gaming, and it's been fine. Okay, just to be somewhat balanced about all this, once again, if you are a gamer, just forget about Linux for now and stick with Windows. Let's move on.
I have turned on my side monitor. One minor issue, I can't go over there with my mouse because my mouse has to go all the way left and then it's over there. So I need to reconfigure the desktops. Right click doesn't get me there. So yeah, we'll figure it out.
You know what? No, forget it. The wife's still awake, so I've got Manjaro loaded up here, and we're gonna take another crack at this puppy.
Whoa, 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 whoa. So he's going to try going from Ubuntu-based to Arch-based as a newbie? Oh, man. I need a Motrin. Hang on, guys. Yeah, I'm starting to get a headache already. Okay. Good luck, Linus. Let's continue.
To be clear, it's entirely possible that I did something completely wrong, not knowing what I was doing, and I'm responsible for the OS getting bricked. I just also think that with you guys along for the ride, the things that I did were not entirely ridiculous or unreasonable. So you can be mad at me for bricking.
I'm not mad at all. What he's doing, what he's done, just to search for best Linux distribution or best Linux for gaming. That's what a newbie would do. That is what a beginner would do. That is real life. You know, when I first started messing with Linux back in 2006 with Ubuntu, I did some research on the web. I had nobody to show me. You know, I researched exactly what he's doing. So, you know, besides him not consulting with me first, he's done nothing wrong in my opinion. But let's continue.
But just at least acknowledge that it could have happened to anyone who's not already fully, well versed in the black arts of Linux.
We've all been there, right? We've all been there.
Agree. Okay, hold on a second. I didn't manage to catch the boot selector prompt. Started complaining about USB devices. Feels like the old days, doesn't it? I made a video about our 10 gig NAS using Emulex cards. That was like 9 years ago in this very room. A lot of memories in this house. Mixed feelings on moving. Manjaro went straight into the live boot environment, so we're just gonna launch the installer. And good luck, everybody.
I got Wine installed through the software manager. I needed to get Lutris. I didn't find Lutris in the software manager, so I just went to the Lutris website, followed the command line stuff, and I now have Lutris, which we'll close for now and use later. The Mint software manager had Steam. Well, I selected install. It made me put in my password twice, and now it's removing. It never stopped trying to do that removing thing, but I just closed the package manager, clicked onto, I'm going to call start. I don't know if it's called start here. And Steam was sitting right there. So I launched it, and it seems to be working. So maybe we're fine. Okay, sweet. I'm gonna log in. I'll see you on the other side.
I just want you guys to be here with me for the experience, so that if I completely explode this one, you'll at least know why, maybe.
Please don't turn on the AUR. Do not turn on the AUR. It will blow up your system as it did to me. Do not turn on the arch useless repository for beginners. Trust me on that. Okay, let's move on.
You can leave a know-it-all comment under the video. I'm ready. Come at me, guys. I'm trying here. Who needs sound anyway?
Linus seems like a cool dude. I've never had the pleasure of meeting him or speaking with him, but he is trying. You can tell in this video. This is almost over, by the way. He is really trying. So I have to give him credit for having at least some amount of patience, which is required.
Microsoft has a very broken settings situation right now, but this is worse. Hey, is my game controller picked up just like that? Oh, nice. Look at that. Why are the two columns open source and installed? Does this mean, is this proprietary? Because that's what I think I told it to do. X server settings. What is X server?
When it comes to video drivers, from my experience, if you're not sure, just choose the open source drivers. From my previous experiences, your experience may vary, but video drivers for Linux can be a hit and miss. Let's move on.
X server gonna give it to you, what? Okay, alright, this seems to do kind of what we need it to do. I'll figure this out later. Let's get Steam. Let's see if we can get Steam. I saw something about Steam in that update that made me restart. Oh, Steam runtime. Hello. Oh, we're updating again. No problem.
Okay, Steam installed no problems. I'm gonna quickly go to my settings, go to Steam Play, enable Steam Play for all other titles, and then have, I guess we'll do Proton 6.3-7. And then I'll go to shader pre-caching and allow background processing of Vulkan shaders. Okay, so we gotta restart Steam real quick. I believe FTL has a native Linux version. I'm just gonna install directly. And we're gaming on Linux, boys. There we go. I think I'm done. The first challenge? That wasn't really a challenge. I suspect we will run into major challenges down the line.
Library. Oh yeah. Oh, hey, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, boom. Linux. Now, the game I've been playing recently is Cave Story Plus. Is this Linux? Just like native freaking let's go, boys? Oh wait, my sound still isn't working. Yeah, I still have no sound. Honestly, I'm kind of willing to live with that. Let's just It's on the...
Gaming with no sound. He said he's willing to live with that. Would a Windows user go for that? You tell me. Let's move on.
Right. And no dice on the controller, even though it was picked up by the system. I guess we need to figure that out now. This video ended up a lot longer than I expected. The goal was simple: install Linux and run a game. And I managed to screw it up so royally that I'm here hours later, still trying to figure it out. This is a native Linux game. Let's just play it. And we're gaming. It's running nice and smooth. This is a native game, so this is really not that much of a challenge. My sound still isn't working. Still have no idea why that would be, but we're gaming, and it seems to have just been a cave story issue because my controller, is working just fine. Can I jump? Whatever, attack. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully Luke had an easier go of it than I did. The best part of this whole thing is that we are just getting started. A lot of the games that I want to run, like Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, appear to have ways to run them. Discord looks like there's a way to get it going. It involves a lot of command line. Hopefully I won't brick my OS. But step 2 is getting streaming working. Both Luke and I stream. We both need it working if we're going to run this for a month. So good luck, everybody. Thanks, FreshBooks, for sponsoring this video. FreshBooks is a simple account.
Okay, I'll stop this here. What these guys have done to get this, I guess, first Pop OS, and then Manjaro, then his friend, Linux Mint. What these guys have done to get, their respective distributions running and installed is, it's once again, it's what a Windows user would attempt to do. He would gather information, whether it's a general web search, whether it's a YouTube channel or channels like my own, to try to get some advice, some perspective of what's involved, the time involved, which distributions, why to stick with Windows for gaming. I guess the moral of the story is stick to a Linux-based Chromebook. But no, and I love my Chromebooks, by the way. But what Linus and his friend have tried to do is real life. So it's not unusual. I'm not surprised that they've had all this trouble, and I think the main reason is, and the father of modern day Linux, Linus Torvalds, said it. We don't have a standardization of a Linux desktop for the masses. Chromebooks come close, but it's not enough. Fragmentation. And there are simply, and I think he alluded to this, there are a lot of choices, and too much of anything, even love, is not necessarily a good thing. And it can be confusing, and you do have to take the time to sift through all the information, all the pluses and minuses of what's going on. What's involved? Why does Linux fail for some, success for others? Why stick with gaming in Windows? It's those are valid questions that deserve honest answers, and the answers may not be popular. So, I guess this was part one. Now, I think I can read between the lines as a former New Yorker, and I think behind the scenes, off camera, Linus is saying, "What a piece of bleepity bleepy this and bleep that, blip blip." I'm just guessing. My hunch tells me he can't say that on camera, but I would not be surprised that he's saying that off camera. Why is this taking so long, and so on and so forth. Anyway, that's my thoughts of this for part one. I'm curious to see how far he goes with this. Again, I have not met this gentleman. He seems like a cool dude. I wish him all the best and good luck with trying to game in Linux. I guess he uses primarily Windows for his multimedia task. A lot of YouTubers they use Mac. Anyway, let me move into the chat here, and then we'll wrap this up. So, I have a confession to make. I laughed at the expense of Linus's agony and torment. All right. Hello, Farron. How are you? Metal Music. How are you? Let's see here. Anselm. Why would he deliberately bork nothing to gain? I don't know. Was that a mistake? I'm not sure. Hello, Spin. Get your popcorn. Hi, Ben. Vincenzo's in the house. The joys of having drivers baked into the kernel. Okay. Maybe he didn't intentionally mean to screw it up. No, I don't think so. No script that I know of. Did he script this? I don't think so. It didn't seem that way. I think he was being quite genuine. Vince says, introducing the world to the joys of Pulse Audio. Okay. And so Pop OS and LTT created a massive meme in the Pop OS community regarding Steam. Okay. Ben is cringing. Oh shoot, he blew it up. Laughing my bleep off. You feel it, Ben? Okay. Sad for Linux. Well, yes. Good will come of this. There is now an open issue for apt-get to try and improve the situation. Notify the user this is really bad. Yes. Ben is still laughing. Okay. One thing he would do was to run the updates before installing anything. One thing I noticed, he didn't say that he checked the download to make sure that the download was not corrupted. Or maybe he did. So that could be a problem. Cubed melons. The house, love it. How in the world did Linus manage to get Steam to uninstall X? That's the beauty of Linux. It is unpredictable. Pop OS screwed up packages wise. I don't know. There's a lot of comments here. I'm going as fast as I can. I don't want to miss anyone. Anselm says, a lot of command line to get it working. Windows users would say, I'm out of here. Yeah. Amen to that. Yeah. Hi, Quails. When Linux becomes as easy to install games as Windows, don't use Linux. I don't see that happening. Yeah. Again, if you are a newbie and you want to try Linux, not gaming, just keep it simple. My gold standard is Ubuntu Mate. There's other good ones. You saw his friend, I forget his name now, but Linux Smith, that's a good one too. Zorn OS is good. Let's see, what else do we have here? Ben says, feel bad that he has such a tough time. Yeah. Crab aesthetics in the house. Okay, I love seafood. Linus's biggest mistake was not reading. It is said in no uncertain terms that it is going to uninstall the whole desktop environment. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're trying anything for the first time, reading would definitely help. There's no question. Yeah, what I'm saying is, if you are new, stay away from the GNOME desktop. Just stay away from it. If you are new and you are a heavy gamer, I would probably stay away from Linux right now. It can work. Gaming can work in Linux, but there are so many variables. It's not worth it, in my opinion. Cube says, yeah, Mint so far has been the furthest I've been able to get without opening the terminal. I'll believe that. Yeah, I like Linux Mint. I have Linux Mint Cinnamon installed in one ThinkPad and Linux Mint Mate 32-bit in my second one. But videos like this, like he's done, it's good to present real-world experience is of someone, you know, as popular as Linus is. He's been doing this. He has more videos. He has like over 5,000 videos, I think, which is insane. So, you know, this is good. This is good to get out there, something like this, you know, without any, ambiguity. This is real life. This is real life Linux, right? Of course it is. Well, Anselm says you have to understand people aren't going to read. They want one-click install to be up and running. Yeah, because you don't have to read to get Windows running, right? I would have to agree. I would have to agree. You know. Again, if we had a standardized Linux desktop for the masses besides Chromebook, it would solve all these problems because you would have a standardized quality of apps, of a system, of gaming, and it just doesn't exist except for Chromebooks. But it's not enough. Kevin says you would install Steam through the Flatpak version. All right, maybe that would help. I don't know. I seldom use Flatpaks or app images or snaps. I stick with what's pre-installed or through the dev packages for Ubuntu base first. If for some reason that does not work, then I'll try option B, which would be, snaps or Flatpak. You have your doubts about most normal being able to get even through the partitioning stage, normal users. Well, most friendly Ubuntu or most friendly systems have a user-friendly installer, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yeah. Is there anything else before we wrap this up? If you missed any of this, you can just watch this on the replay. But this is my reaction to what seems to be a popular video right now from Linus Tech Tips. Linux hates me is what he called it. Cute Melon says, man, I wonder if Linus just killed Linux with this video. No. Did he kill it for the masses? It didn't help. But this is real life. I think if he would have said, I'm just going to, if he would have just spoken to me, I would have said, don't do gaming in Linux. Don't install a GNOME-based system. Try Ubuntu Mate, Linux Mint, Zorn OS. Try those and let me know what you think. I think you would have had a much better experience. I think. But something like this does not help. I predict, well, we have 1.3 billion Windows users. I think after this we'll have 2.3 billion Windows users. Dan is in the house. He has no issues gaming on Linux. Cool. Now just remember, this guy is a newbie. Evidently, Linus knows very little about the whole environment of Linux. So this is real life. It's going to go from 1% market share to 0.5 market share. I think Linux market share is 2 point something, almost 3. I lost track. I don't know. Millions of people now see the desktop getting nuked. Just to be clear, for all the Windows users who are watching this, Linux can work. You can't watch one video like this and say that Linux sucks. That would be completely unfair. If you have used a Chromebook, have read about Chromebooks, know someone who uses a Chromebook, those are Linux-powered machines, and they are superb. Why are they superb? Because they work. They are a standardized Linux format, powered by Google. Now, Chromebooks may not be your cup of tea, and that's fine, but they are Linux-powered, they are quality, and they are just as good as any machine out there. So, there are more videos to come. They continue the challenge and the conclusions according to Luke. Oh, that was the other guy. Okay. The other guy seemed positive. Yeah, I think Luke is probably going to stick with Linux Mint, right? So he's probably going to have better luck, I think. So Kevin uses Steam and Flatpak and it works very well. Okay, cool. I actually have 2 versions of OBS Studio installed in my Ubuntu Mate, the deb and the snap package, and there was something wonky in the snap package. I couldn't get something to work, but you just never know. Again, without a standardized desktop, you just never know, and hence the problem. So I wonder if they'll eventually end up trying Ubuntu. Ubuntu was my first, experiment in Linux. I love the GNOME 2 desktop. I liked Unity. Once they switched to GNOME 3 or GNOME Shell, that pretty much killed Ubuntu, I think, for beginners. Yeah, it's been disappointing. So. Spin Viking says, can Chromebooks install and run Android apps on the laptop? Yeah. Yep. You can even install some Linux apps if you enable it. That depends on the Chromebook. But sure. Yeah. Chromebooks are versatile. They are maintenance free. Obviously the operating system is pre-installed. They are secure. They just work, and they're fast, and they are affordable. Again, that is a standardized Linux format, the Chromebook. I just wish we had other choices. But I think Chromebooks are a good start for the masses to get the feel of what the potential power of Linux. So yeah. Chromebooks come with like no storage space. That used to be the case, but not anymore. Yeah, that's been changing. Yeah. Yeah, most people who buy Chromebooks are going to be web centric, mainly web, gaming on the web, not too much installing. Of course, you can always install, hook up external drives, USB sticks, and stuff like that. But I have a Chromebook in my garage that I turn it on. It's on in 6-7 seconds, and as I'm working in the garage, working on the car or cleaning, I will stream music from the Chromebook. And that's pretty much it. I don't really install anything, at least how I handle Chromebooks. So, and for somebody, mom and pop, who just wants to get on the web and watch Total OS or somebody else, there's never really not into gaming that much or any, type of, in need of a lot of storage, Chromebooks are perfect. So, it's I think that's why Chromebooks have been so popular. They just, in the end, they just work. So, yeah. The standard as of now is 64. For the Chromebook, Anselm? Okay. Yeah, for most people, that should be enough. Yeah. Yeah, System 76 sells laptops, desktops with GNU Linux. Yeah. Oh, you have two of their Intel Nuke clones. They're great. Okay. Yeah, Kevin, I wish Canonical would have stuck with Unity or picked something else other than GNOME. And Pop! OS apparently is going to drop GNOME for their own desktop environment, from what I've read. So that should be interesting. But as far as the GNOME desktop goes, I like Pop! OS and Zorn OS 16 Pro. The last great Ubuntu for me was the 16 version. The last version with Unity, I had it installed on 2 desktops, and it was fantastic. So yeah. Yeah, GNOME Shell has been out about 10 years. I think it came out about the same time Unity did. So Unity was progressing nicely, I thought. But and I think you can still install Unity, but it's not officially supported by Canonical. So, yeah, I agree, Lambert. The best Ubuntu was 1604 with Unity. Completely agree. Yeah. So, yeah, GNOME is slow. Look, Windows 11 is faster than GNOME Linux, considerably, at least in my one test machine. And if I hook up an SSD, Windows 11 will probably fly. So, anyway. Again, if you missed any of this, my reaction, you can just replay the video. So, but I'm looking forward to part 2 of what Linus has to say about all this. Again, this is real life, and you know, I wish I would have recorded my very first real life experience with Ubuntu back in '06. But yeah, it wasn't until years later that I started, you know, talking about my experiences and all this. So, but we'll see. We'll see where part 2 takes Linus, but I am kind of curious if he just says screw it, I'm sticking with Windows. He mentioned about confusing Windows settings. I'm not sure what he's talking about. I don't find settings in Windows confusing, do you? I don't know. Sir Susie's in the house. What's up, Sir Seuss? Linus told it like it is for noobs. Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's real life. So. Yeah. So, if you are a newbie, you are a beginner, don't be scared to try Linux. If you have a spare machine that you don't really use all the time, consider a non-gaming platform for Linux. Consider a beginner-friendly Linux like Linux Mint, Ubuntu Mate, Zorin OS Lite is good, and you might have better luck. So, just do it on a test machine, and do a little bit of reading, or watch some of my videos on how I've done it. So, you know, it can be time-consuming, but you may like what you see when all the results are in. So. 2 different control panels for Windows. Stuff is either in classic or modern one while missing from the other. That doesn't bother me too much. Yeah. Windows 11 has been a complete joy. Absolute complete joy. Surprisingly. So. Shadow says you game all the time on Linux, doing it right now. Okay. Cool. Yeah, in Linux I play, oh, what do I play? It's the racing thing. Let me go to Super Tux Kart. That's what I play. And it works. Okay, Lamer, take care. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, for Windows 11, I just click the settings and I'm right in there. Their version of the control panel, right? I don't have problems with the settings. No confusion in Windows for me, so I'm not really sure what Linus was trying to say about all that, but oh well. Cyberpunk works in Steam. Dan, okay. The next game I'll probably purchase will be Halo 6. I'm a big Halo fan of the whole Halo universe. So, yeah, Halo, what's it called? Infinity? Something like that? Halo Infinite. So, yeah. The one nice thing about these gaming boxes, Xbox and PlayStation, obviously there's nothing to install. You just buy the game and, you know, log in and you're good to go. So, you know, there's no tweaking or drivers. Simple. So. All right, guys, is there anything else? Last comments here, and we'll wrap this up. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by for this evening. It was fun to look at this. And, yeah. Too bad it didn't have a better ending. So. Well, Linux has succeeded in some ways. Supercomputers, the world's supercomputers, I believe, they all run Linux, right? Chromebooks. has succeeded. For people who like to tinker and play, Linux has succeeded. It just has failed for the masses. Again, because we don't have a standardized Linux desktop for the masses. And again, Linus Torvalds, the father of modern Linux, commented about that a couple years ago. And he also mentioned about Chromebooks, that he liked Chromebooks. So yeah, so it has been kind of disappointing, you know. I walk into a Walmart and the only thing I see Linux based is a Chromebook. Nothing wrong with Chromebooks. I just wish there was something else there, but that's real life. Thanks, Vincenzo. Thank you for stopping by. And when are you going to join in on a live chat one of these? Do I have to call Uncle Guido to get you in on the live chat? Show some respect to the total family, okay? See, Vincenzo, you have summer there in Australia. See, the seasons are flip-flop, right? Here it's winter, 34 degrees, and over there it's sunny and warm. He's probably on the beach in his sandals, you know, watching this. Anyway. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Again, if you missed any of this, watch this on the replay. Hopefully this is informative if you are a beginner. Again, what we've seen here with this gentleman, this is real life. This is somewhat of what I went through in the beginning as I learned to pick and choose what's for me. So what you're seeing here, again, is not that unique or unusual for a beginner to the world of Linux. So, you know, watch the whole thing. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for all your support. Support the live shows if you can. These live shows are made possible by you, the fantastic Linux/Chromebooks/Windows community. And on that note, Vincenzo says, Aussie lingo, sandals equals thongs in Australia. Really? Okay, on that visual note, I'll just say arrivederci. All you thongs out there in Australia. Ciao.